see if it's true. Yeah. Let me the desktop here. Hello everybody and welcome back to the 2020.2 South African simGT series, this time at the Zandvoort circuit, and I'm joined by Daniel Haynes. Welcome, Daniel.
Yeah, good evening everyone. Welcome to round 4 of the ACC GT series. And yeah, new track for us, Zandvoort. Never been here before, I don't think, in AC either.
Yeah, I think it's been a long time since we've raced this circuit in one of our official championships, yeah. And it's been interesting to see how these cars get around this tight and twisty circuit.
Yeah, and it's obviously, well, technically the old layout because it's been changed quite heavily this year and no one's really seen much of it with current events happening this year. The F1 was cancelled. But this circuit hasn't got the banking layout that will be very familiar to us going forward with Formula One going there. But we're back at 2019, if you like, Zandvoort, nice and flat, no banking. But still be interesting. Quite a tight little circuit though, not many overtaking points. I've done a few races here in iRacing and yeah, overtaking not easy. Maybe dive bombing into turn 1. I'm not even going to attempt this evening to pronounce any of the corner names because I'll leave that to you, Jason, because I think it needs a German-Dutch sort of accent to get your tongue around them. So I'll leave the corner names.
With a name like Holden-Jones, I'm sure that'll put us in good stead. But I'll do my best, of course.
I'm sure you get some practice in Germany. They'll look close enough. So I will be going purely on corner numbers, not names, I'm afraid. So apologies for anyone that knows the circuit a little bit better than we do. But yeah, turn 1 is a bit of a dive zone. That's got to be the favourite overtaking point. And some tricky corners, that has to be said. Turn 8 is the real difficult one. If you've got a track map on yourself, turn 8's the one that you've got to watch for. You carry so much speed through there, you can gain or lose a hell of a lot of time. That was always the one I struggled with anyway in the races I've done at this circuit. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see. We've got Zahir Essa having a drop round this evening, so that very tasty battle we've got for the championship lead, which is I think 1 point in it between Jadwa and Essa.
Yeah, I think it's in fact 3 points, but yeah, very close.
3 points. Close enough that that will have to be postponed for the next round, and Jadwat might want to try his best on this circuit to get a bit of a healthier lead because they will be going to a Spa, I think, afterwards where the 911's not so hot, so that might be Jadwat's drop round just as a guess.
If anybody doesn't know how the championship works, we've got 6 races this season, and the driver's worst drop round gets removed from the championship to make it the 5 best rounds of the 6 that count. So because S is missing this race, he'll just use it as drop round, and it shouldn't affect his actual championship standings too much at all. So Daniel, to the action this evening with just over 12 minutes remaining. It is championship leader Bashir Jadwat leading the way in the ATK Porsche, the 83 entry. And
Kieran Patterson in second. It's nice to see him back up there. We've not seen too much of him recently, but he's had a good lap to get second position and snatch it from Oliphant and Langeveld, because I think Langeveld was holding that second place for a very long time in this qualifying session. So
yeah, Kieran's currently in the pit lane, just I think probably working on a bit of setup quickly for his last run. So doing very well in the Solidarity E race last night in the superhero iteration of that event. And good to see him back here in South African simGT as well. Leslie Oliphant also strong in the top 3 for the moment. Watch out for him this evening. New livery there for the Patterson Works sim racing team. And Christopher Langeveld, so always strong, Daniel, in 4th position in the sim racing crew Lamborghini.
yeah, he's an old timer, isn't he? And he's an old timer in a Lamborghini as well. It's so familiar sight to see Langeveld going around in a Lamborghini and anything designed by Kunos, basically. But yeah, nice to have him back.
Yeah, I'd love to see him back in a Mercedes-Benz, of course, because he's magic.
He was awesome in that, wasn't he? Yeah.
The AC version of this championship, opting for the Lamborghini for this season.
Yeah, I forgot he used to be so good in that AMG, didn't he? Yeah, so bit of a change for him for an ACC, but that's the way it goes. I think there's been a I had a a look that there was an update to the sim that had a bit of a BOP change to these cars. So I haven't delved into that any deeper to see how big of a change it was or anyone noticed any significant difference. But it will be interesting to see whether we notice a few other brands change for them that have been not quite so quick, if you like, in previous rounds, shining more now because of changes possibly due to game updates. But yeah, no, I haven't had anyone else comment, to be fair, in the Discord lead up to this race. So potentially it hasn't changed too much. Most of the comments, it has to be said, people moaning about the weather in the practice sessions, saying that every time they log into the server, it's monsoon rain. And I guaranteed that it would be a dry race if I watched. And lo and behold, we have a bright summer's day at Zandvoort to welcome us in the qualifying session. So we'll see whether that changes, but it certainly doesn't look like it is at the moment.
I'm not sure whether the BOP adjustment's going to do it, but certainly we have Kieran Patterson in the Ferrari into second. He's always been strong. I mean, top 10 most throughout the season, but to see him second there, perhaps he's just he slowed down the Porsche slightly, maybe brought up the Ferrari a bit. And,
yeah, possibly. I think the patch note literally just said BOP adjustments. It didn't go into any more depth. So, like, you get BOP changes in iRacing, for example, and they literally tell you the percentage changes or tyre changes or whatever they've done. But ACC, it doesn't look like they've done that. But I haven't, like I said, I haven't had anyone in Discord moaning or complaining or commenting. So maybe it hasn't been too much of a change. But yeah, like you said, the Ferrari up into second place. Obviously, we had the Esters being strong in the Ferrari all season. So, not 100% sure on this track. We didn't do it in last season as to what car is favourite here, but Porsche seems strong everywhere, doesn't it?
Yeah, certainly. I mean, could we speak? Kieran Patterson has got this track hooked up, and yeah, he's finding awesome this evening. Let's see if he can take it to Zandvoort in the race. Currently second in this qualifying session with just over 8 minutes remaining. And another driver who's looking strong this evening is Nick Hodgson in 6th position in the big point-blank Bentley, the 101 entry.
We'll be keeping an eye on number 7 in Rousseau as well. Old timer that is never. He will be going forward in the race. I think that's pretty sure. He's got speed everywhere, no matter what he does. So Gabriel Rousseau, watch out for him in 7th place at the moment. Quite a decent gap, it has to be said. Jadwat has for nearly half a second is quite substantial. I saw the fastest qualifying pace for a car here at Zandvoort on this layout, not the new layout, is 1:35.6. So we're quite a bit quicker than that in the sim world to this evening. So that's a quick time by Jadwat, just off that standard in real world qualifying. I think that was set in the Audi. Which, looking down the list, where's the first Audi? 20th position, Brent Lindsay Ray. So maybe that needs a BOP change.
Yeah. We're now looking at my favourite car in livery in the championship, Lano Clue, in the Mercedes-Benz 969. Fantastic looking livery. Good in 8th position for now.
He's also the background for tonight's stream, isn't he? Yes, he's definitely like that as your favourite.
You can see that I picked that picture.
Yeah.
Then we got Chris Heineke in the big Nissan GTR in 9th position for the moment for Ghostworks. Devon Nisha, top 10 at the moment in the SRC Porsche. So yeah, we're not seeing too many position changes, although we are at the closing stages of the qualifying session.
We have seen in basically every other round that position changes have happened in the last 2-3 laps of the race, of the qualifying session, sorry. So certainly track progression is a thing in Assetto Corsa Competizione. And even though it's a 45-minute session, the amount of times that the pole position has been pipped right at the end, I think it's been basically every round so far. So yeah, you want to be out on track. You don't want to be sat in the pits, even if you're happy with your time, because yeah, you just don't know what that track progression is going to be like as it gets rubbered in throughout the session. It's a bit of a shame that we missed Zandvoort in the F1 calendar this year, and it hasn't been rescheduled. I certainly feel sorry for the circuit because from what I've heard and what I've seen in photos, they've done a fantastic job in upgrading it for Formula One, and it will obviously be upgraded for every other discipline that goes around there as well, to encourage more overtaking, banking, grandstands, all sorts. They spent a lot of money there, and then the race got cancelled. So they'll be keen for next season, I'm sure. Max Verstappen misses his home race. But as it stands with this old layout, it does feel very narrow overall, and lots of twisty corners, but not many heavy braking zones to make passes. So it can become a bit of a procession in a high downforce car. Hopefully that won't be the case this evening in GT3. I'm pretty sure with the amount of cars we've got on track, we will have some action. But it will be interesting to see where those passing points start to come out, and what becomes the most common spot. I'm still thinking the braking zone into turn 1 probably got to be the favourite.
Yeah, normally when I race the circuit, I sort of drive up the inside into turn 1 and then run alongside with the other car and make the move stick into turn 2, turn 3.
Yeah, that's the only obvious,
yeah.
Obvious overtaking spot for me, I think. Otherwise, you're looking for mistakes, aren't you, really?
Got this section where Adrian Govern is approaching now. We've got this tight right-handers coming up. Often you can drive up the inside there. There we are now on board with him now. And this left-hander as well. You can get good drive out of the last corner.
It's in a bit of a traffic jam at the moment, Governor, isn't he? We've got spammers and crew camp behind him. Not ideal when you're on a flyer. Just Bentley looks a little bit cumbersome on such a twisty, tight circuit as this one. But we got Nick Hodgson running in 6th place in the Bentley, so it's clearly got some speed.
Kieran Pedersen now out in the 1, 2, 3 Ferrari. Never go Judd. What is 4 tenths down? So he's looking for a big improvement. To just dodge a car that went off the circuit. Not sure who that was. Paulie Front is in the pit lane, so I think he's had enough for this session. Probably getting ready for the start of the race coming up.
Craig Carson's has done well to get up into the 3rd place. He was a bit further down. I missed his lap. But certainly Porsche three in the top 4, so it's a little bit of a Porsche fest here, has to be said.
Kieran Pedersen started his quick lap now. Maybe his last attempt. Let's stay with him. Let's go on board with Kieran. Yeah, he gets on. Going to get good drive out of this corner down this sort of back straight.
Yeah, this is the tricky section. It's coming up to turn 8. So after you get through these S's, I'm not going to pronounce them, but then this corner, turn 8, super fast, and getting the line right through there, carrying as much speed, is not as easy as Kieran's made that look.
Let the car drift out wide out of these corners. Good drive. The curve on the outside. This is a tricky corner for me, this left-hander.
Yeah, there's a couple of lines you can take through there, definitely. If you don't get a good exit, you might see a few people putting their car up the inside here into this braking zone. Turn right, the right corner here. So dive into this slow chicane section.
So Kieran Patterson's decided to abandon that lap, so I think he's preparing for the next run. I think he's worried about the traffic ahead of him. And there's sort of 3 or 4 cars just he was coming up to.
20 seconds left of the qualifying session, so he's got one more opportunity. He obviously knows that he's got to gain 4/10. It's not a small amount. People leaving the pit lane where they've got no chance whatsoever of getting round passing the line, so I'm not quite sure what that's all about.
They could be doing a starting run on race fuel.
Yeah, Kieran Patterson will be upset if it slows him down though.
Yeah, badly to get the power down with traction control kicking in there, cutting out the power to the rear wheels. What's in the pit lane? There's Langenfeld, so there's Heineke. Coming to 2.
See, this is where he's coming up against traffic that's got sort of no right to be there,
Nice
really.
run wide there.
Might be on.
Oversteer.
Yeah.
It was last time there, unfortunately.
When you see a car on the grass, it puts you off a little bit, doesn't it? I think I was also looking at the car on the grass. This Kieran Patterson unfortunately made a mistake. So that's the end of qualifying. I don't think anyone else is improving. Craig Clarson's is still on a hot lap, I think.
Oh,
oh, it's raining.
Daniel, you've got your wish.
Watch out for curbs and exit and remember to brake early.
Don't torment me. It's just going to be a shower.
Right, everyone, we're going to take a short break. Don't go away. Formation lap about to get underway. Welcome back to a wet Zandvoort this time around, Daniel. Your
it had to
wishes
happen
have been
eventually.
granted.
Just law of averages. I knew if I tuned into enough races, eventually we would get some rain. And this is going to change everything, guys. In a track the way you can't overtake, it doesn't matter anymore because it's going to be wet. They'll be overtaken for sure.
And judging by the comments in the text chat on the server, the drivers were not necessarily prepared for this, so it's caught them off guard. So let's just see how this goes. Should be very interesting.
And I'm looking at the little sort of forecast on the screen, and it's heavy rain, and lightning. So this could be a little bit more than a shower. Certainly looks full wet. There's spray off. We've not seen this. We've done a season and a half, and we have not seen spray off the back of these cars yet. This is the first time. We've had little showers, and we've had drying lines and slightly wet, but not rain to this extent, or not standing water on the circuit. So it's going to be very, very interesting to see how some of the seasoned professionals of ACC that we've come accustomed to handle the wet weather. I know the Porsche, I've heard the Porsche is not easy in the wet, if you like, not one of the easiest cars to drive in the wet, so the fact that there's so many Porsches at the front could very well be interesting.
We haven't had the race started yet, but we've got an upset already. If we look at the first two cars, the second car is not Kieran Patterson in the Ferrari, it's Craig Clarson's. And where's Kieran Patterson? He's in the pit lane. So something has gone drastically wrong there for the PWSR Ferrari.
Maybe he didn't get his setup done in time in the countdown.
Well, this is what this type of weather does, unfortunately. Can Yeah, or put people, perhaps.
If you take more than the 2 minutes, it kicks you to pit, doesn't it? Mate, I can surely that's the only thing that's happened. Oh, that's a shame because it's a great qualifying session from Kieran Patterson, so he's going to have to start from the pit lane. Claessens has been gifted the place. Obviously the leaderboard still shows Kieran Patterson in second place, but it does have P next to pit lane. We've got someone else in the pits. Antonici is also in the pits, 18th position. So I think a couple of people have just been caught out and not got their setup sorted in the 2-minute cooldown period. Well, this is looking quite substantially wet, it has to be said. And the forecast is got lightning and heavy lightning in 10 minutes time. So we're getting proper rain here, guys.
Zandvoort just going through the tight chicane now. He's now approaching the last corner before the race will get underway. The race will start when Zandvoort crosses the start-finish line.
Just showing in the chat, Matthew Boyd's incredibly excited because he says the Bentley is a boat, so it's absolutely perfect in these conditions. And obviously his teammate Nick Hodgson is in the Bentley, so we'll be keeping an eye out from 9th place and Nick Hodgson and how he progresses in the race.
It's 2 cars still in the pit lane, unfortunately. Let's see if they will be able to start from the pits. I'm sure they will be able to.
Yeah, it should be once the field's passed.
Here we go. And it's go here at Zandvoort. Zandvoort's got the drop on teammate Claessens. And Langevaart looking dangerous already, actually defending from Rousseau. Rousseau wanting past.
Everyone's pretty cautious though, aren't they? Pretty cautious, has to be said.
Turn 1 looks very wet, Daniel. This is messy, this is very challenging.
Lionel Clue up sideways.
Rousseau's off on the grass, he recovers fine. Lionel Clue swoops around the outside. Lisha trying to do the same. And, yeah, this is very difficult.
Spammers off in the background as well. No, it wasn't Spammers, it was someone else I missed in the background. Clue's managed to make it through cleanly and up into 6th place.
Yeah.
Yeah, following in this spray is certainly going to be difficult. We've got Oliphant has made a mistake gone wide. Clue's got him as well. Yeah. So Lionel Clue's making places at the start of this race.
He's certainly looking strong, isn't he? That Mercedes-Benz looks good in the wet.
Someone's been doing some wet weather practice. Whoever's done the most wet weather practice is going to have a ball here this evening.
There's the Oliphant looking to get back past Clue. Only for our timing screens to update now. Oh, and Heineke up the inside of Langevaart. There's contact. Langevaart off. He's recovering now. Actually, Jones stuck in front of Heineke.
Yeah, Clue's all over the back. Clue's really got that. He's looking very stable in that AMG. Everyone else is sort of... Heineke's gone wide again. Clue's up the inside of Heineke now. He's going to gain another place.
Clue's
Has indeed.
Up
into 4th. Oh, bit of a tank slapper from Clue.
How did he hang on to that? Wow, that was impressive, Daniel.
Very impressive. And now there's 3 going down there. Everyone's in the same spot. Oliphant, Rousseau, Clue, Heineke. This could be damage here if they're not careful.
Rousseau up the inside of... Who was that? Oliphant, that was. Heineke looking to get past Oliphant as well.
Clue's gone backwards and Hodgson's come through now. This is a lot of changing of places here early on.
Like Polo Cup.
It is a little bit. Rousseau managed to gain a whole bunch of places there. It now leads to this little train that we've got forming. Oliphant behind him. So I put it as Rousseau's up into 4th position. Yes, he is up into 4th place at the time and screens update. So he was the big winner through that little melee down the pit straight. So Clue had an epic start, then got into a bit of a tank slapping, and now it's got him a little bit concerned, I think, because he's going backwards now, under pressure from Govender. Nick Hodgson, in his big boat of a Bentley, is up the inside of Heineke, gains another place, following with Lisha. Those two are always close together on track. Heineke's fighting back on Hodgson, though.
Lisha now behind the GTR of Heineke. and the Bentley of Hudson.
Hodgson's gone from 9th to 6th in his big boat. Oh, we had a bit of a tap from Heineke and it sent him round. That was a tap from Heineke from behind. Now Hodgson's literally blocking the middle of the road and having to wait for a clear re-entry. He's lost a lot of places, unfortunately, as Nick Hodgson. He rejoins behind Berger, who was in 15th position, so I think that puts Nick right back down to 16th. That was Heineke just touched the back of him there.
So it's the ATK Porsches leading 1-2, looking comfortable. Next car is Christopher Langerfeld in 3rd position. The Lamborghini is 6 seconds there behind Judd Watt.
I have to say, I don't think we need more rain, but I'm looking at the forecast. Have you seen that? 3, and then what's yellow thunder plus?
Yes.
I mean, that
Yeah,
can't be a good symbol, really, can it?
We're going to find out in about 10 minutes.
We've got lightning plus, and then we have yellow lightning plus, which is like Noah Ark condition, I think. So we'll have to keep an eye out in 10 minutes' time, because these are monumental wet conditions here. So it's surprising we haven't had any real offs, or not too many, because they are tiptoeing round.
Jason Isherwood's come from nowhere to be in 8th position. The 53 Aston Martin.
Yeah, I've not seen him at all this evening, so he's kept it clean, obviously.
Good consistent run so far. Hannes van Beek too, up into 9th.
Maybe that Aston's a bit easier to handle in the wet.
And there's Lindsay Ray in the first of the Audis. And the pressure now from a recovering Chris Heineke in the GTR. Heineke up the inside there, a bit of a dive. Lindsay Ray is aware to it. Of course, you've got Hudson too.
Nick Hodgson's managed to get himself back up to 12th. He dropped down to 16th place. So, I mean, the car's on the move for sure.
Oh, Heineke's run wide. It's cost him dearly.
Hodgson gets revenge from the punt earlier and overtakes him. So the boat's moving up. The highest ranking boat is Edwin Governor, though, in 6th position. So looking at lap times, they're down in the 150s. So really, really making a massive effect, as you would imagine. But following closely will be difficult in the spray. Well, they're not as bad as circuits like Spa, because there's not too many straights. It's not as fast. Down the pit straight, it's got to be difficult though if you're tracking behind someone.
The Kieran Patterson is in this race, so he managed to start from the pit lane. And it was him and Valerio Antonucci. So in the Ferrari, I think it was, those two started from the pit lane. But anyway, they're in this race. Thankfully, let's see how they get on for the rest of it. Patterson, of course, is extremely quick, qualifying second, so I think he's going to fight his way up the grid.
I think they were frantically changing setups, and the 2 minutes, it feels like a long time when you're all sorted, but when you're in a bit of a panic, it goes very, very quickly. So I think that's just a bit of a shame. Qualified second and didn't quite get his setup sorted. That can only be the reason why you start from the pit lane. Well, there is some substantial rain this time. This is definitely not a quick shower like we had in the first season. This is the first time we've had heavy rain in about 10 races. But we got standing water on circuit and everything here. And we've still got lightning plus yellow, whatever that means, in 10 minutes. I don't think it's going to improve. These guys are going to have to just get used to it. Well, what happens with pit strategy? I mean, it could be anything, couldn't it? Unless you've done stints, full stints, how tyres last in the rain, I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's pretty wide open at the moment. And Judd Watt just 2.2 seconds ahead of Claessens. So his teammate keeping him honest there.
As you can imagine, gaps are forming, but sort of Nick Hodgson, Lindsay Ray. I mean, Hodgson's got up to 10th place now, so he's gained 6 places since his spin. It's a bit unfortunate that he dropped so far back. Just got completely stranded in the middle of the track, and he facing the wrong way. All he could do was just sit and watch cars come at him. Incredibly frustrating, but he's got the hammer down now, up into 9th place.
Of course,
As soon as he passes, he put in a gap as well.
Of course, those new to the South African simGT series, every driver must do at least 1 pit stop, which I think this is given in this type of conditions anyway. And you can see who has done their pit stop already by looking at the tower. Got the driver's name and then the car that they're driving. Judd Watt is driving the Porsche, of course, number 83. And then you've got that one in, I think, that brown rectangle. And that is the mandatory pit stop. So once it goes green, then you know that, for example, Judd Watt's done his pit stop. So that's how you keep track of, he's done his pit stop already.
And I've just gone on board with Quaid Clarkson, so I've got to point out that I do believe Quaid has switched to bonnet cam, because he's not got his wipers on, so because there is no way he's driving in cockpit view right now. Absolutely no way.
He's doing a Marcus Stone at Suzuka.
I've heard there's a little bit of a cheat there of guys switch to bonnet cam in the wet, 'cause it makes it a little bit easier, and if the big giveaway is you've got no wipers on. Whereas Jadwat's got his wipers frantically going, so I think he's a VR user, so he has no choice to go to bonnet cam. You just throw up instantly. So he's stuck in the cockpit with his wipers. And is still doing a very, very fine job of it.
Langefeld, unfortunately, is not able to keep up with the two PTK Porsches in front of him. Is now 13 seconds behind Jadwat. It's just 6 seconds. A couple of laps ago, so perhaps he made a mistake over.
I mean, a substantial rain. We've hit our first lightning symbol, if you like, and it really is. I mean, I don't really want it. I know I've been a big advocate for some rain, but I wasn't particularly after sort of Noah's Ark rain. I'm thinking we don't really want it much stronger than this, and I don't know. Yeah, yellow lightning is looking a little bit ominous. We've got Oliphant right up the back of Gabriel Rousseau in 5th position.
Just watching Lindsay Ray there with a half spin. Seems to be recovering okay. Oliphant's got a run on Rousseau. Rousseau saw him coming, went defensive immediately.
Yeah, you're going to make him go around the outside of turn 1, which is not exactly easy to do. Probably impossible to do. Rousseau ducks back in. Super tight, these two. We've seen this before though. Rousseau is such a brilliant defensive driver. He's not going to make it easy for Leslie Oliphant.
Rousseau's an extremely intelligent driver. He will defend for as long as he thinks it's worth it, but we'll be watching his lap times as well. And if he feels that battling Oliphant is slowing him down too much, he may let him go. Let's see what happens. But Rousseau's got a fantastic run away now. Look, he's pulled away from Oliphant.
Yeah, you don't want to be defending for an hour and 15 minutes though if the inevitable is coming. Only 6 laps in, a long, long way to go in this race. Obviously, all sorts of things can happen with the weather, but unlikely that it monsoons for the full 90 minutes. Let's be fair. We would expect it to stop at some point. So you just want to make sure you're there or thereabouts when it does.
On board now with Leslie Oliphant, you can just see how bad the visibility is. The spray being kicked off the tyres of Gabriel Rousseau's car.
Yeah, not easy at all to follow so closely. When you see how close they were going up that pit straight in the last lap, quite impressive. Also got to have good respect for the driver in front, knowing where his braking point is as well. But yeah, Oliphant's just dropped back a little bit now.
The developing battle is Devon Lish's charge up to Adrian Govender. It's over 6th position. But damage to that Porsche of Devon Lisher.
Yeah, considering people have moaned in the past that the Porsches struggles in the wet. I mean, look at the badges. They're all Porsches at the front, aren't they? So it's certainly not the case now. Either people have got very used to practicing in the rain and sorted it out, but it doesn't seem like we've got Porsches struggling as it stands. Isherwood, though, still in 8th place in the Aston. Making progress. Nick Hodgson up into 9th. We're trying to track him down. He's had a lot of time to make back, has Nick Hodgson. Lionel Clue looked like he had that. Oh, Galdnes has just gone off into the wall. Big accident there in the Audi. Peter Galdnes has completely dropped it.
Audi looking very second hand.
Yeah, he hit the wall hard, and I think he's going to have some pretty substantial damage, to be honest. Just judging by how much he hit the wall, and he hit it several times as well, bouncing off it a bit like a ping ball. He might be tiptoeing back to the pits for some repairs, I would imagine. I was just checking back with Lionel Clue, who had such a good start in that AMG. Had a bit of a wobble on it. Sort of got him a bit nervous, it seems, because he went backwards and he's struggling now to come back. He goes wide off into the gravel there. So not quite as poised as he was at the beginning. Maybe in a bit of a false sense of security in those opening laps, wondering why everyone else is going off and not him. And then when you suddenly have a moment, you think, oh dear, better watch it, next lap round. Then when you have a moment on basically every corner of the circuit with this sort of rain, it makes a lap very, very difficult.
Oliphant still trying to challenge Russo for 4th position.
So according to the forecast, we're in the heaviest part of the rain now, but in the 10 minutes time we've got lightning minors. So it does look like it might improve shortly, a bit of a respite for these drivers. I'm sure 10 minutes feels like 30 minutes when you're trying to concentrate in these sort of conditions. Behind we've got Devon Lisher is caught right up to Govender now. Gap within half a second, less than half a second. Checking back in with Kieran Patterson, who qualified in 2nd place and had to start from the pit lane. He is moving up, but he's not moving up at any rate of knots. He's still down in 22nd position. Basically, everyone behind him has already had a pit stop. So, yeah, he's maybe not. Probably wasn't set up for wet weather racing, maybe, which is what caught him out, because he's also not fighting his way through the field quite at the rate that we'd expect for someone that qualified so high up. Obviously in completely different conditions, though, to be fair.
Watching Stephen Kenny now, his first ever time in a division race in South African simGT. It's his first season at SimRace South Africa.
We got Al Patterson in the chat. Sorry, Jason, to interrupt you. Just interested on Al said that Kieran was a bit upset because he was sat on the line waiting, ready to go. He couldn't have pressed drive. Surely he didn't hit the drive button, because that's the only reason you get bumped to pits, I think.
Oh, Kenny getting it all wrong there. Off the track he goes, not too bad, no damage. He rejoins safely. Keep going again. The Ferrari turned around in the background.
That's Antonucci turned round.
Yeah.
He was in 20th position, so he's definitely dropped back. So Stephen Kenny and Kieran Patterson will gain a place at least.
Basically, the Bashir Jadwat leading teammate Claessens by over 3 seconds now. Rousseau still trying to shake Oliphant.
Yeah, just looking at that time, it's not stretched, does it? They're very close. They're staying there, but it just doesn't look like Oliphant's got the pace to do more than just stay there. Amazing that those two drivers can go around consistently without a mistake, especially Oliphant following in that spray. Cannot be easy. But yeah, just as we said at the start, Gabriel Rousseau qualified further back. I would expect him to have come through the field anyway, no matter what the conditions. But he's probably quite pleased with these tricky conditions because the old timer that is Gabriel Rousseau is showing his class as he works his way through the field. Has to be said, in such tricky conditions, the quality of the driving is still outstanding, isn't it?
Yes,
He's going through people, and all right, lap times are horrifically slow compared to what they're used to, but they're keeping perfect control of their cars.
This example of how bad the visibility was. Oliphant was very close to Rousseau now, and suddenly there was another car involved, and Rousseau and Oliphant lapping that car, of course, but we only saw it in the last second. I think Oliphant was also a bit taken aback by that, just moving slightly to the left suddenly.
He gets used to the spray of one car, and you suddenly get two. Wonders where the extra spray is coming from. Okay, so on the forecast, we've got lightning cloud minus for 3 minutes and 10 minutes, so it should be lightening up a touch, because this is pretty monumental at the moment. So Nick Hodgson had about 5 seconds to Isherwood to make up, and he's made it all up in about 3 laps.
And as you mentioned his name, Daniel, Isherwood's into the wall.
I didn't really want to say anything, but yeah, straight into the wall, and Nick Hodgson gets the pass, but I can think he was probably feeling the pressure because Hodgson was catching quick. So he'll be now trying to hunt down his old foe in Devon Lisher, but he's got 6.5 seconds, so we'll just keep a mental note of that, 6.5 seconds to Devon Lisher. See how quick Nick Hodgson can make that back in the boat of the Bentley. Lisher's been stuck behind Govender for quite some time. Leslie Oliphant drops back from Rousseau occasionally, but you think you almost do it just to have a bit of a break, eh? It can't be easy trying to follow a car that closely for that long in all that spray.
As you say, Daniel, we don't know what's going to happen with the strategies now. Are they going to pit in the middle? Is a 2-stopper better? Is a 3-stopper better? Is 3-stopper better? We don't know.
No, and I think the weather will change in an hour and 6 minutes because we're moving off of lightning. We've now just got rain in 10 minutes time. So yeah, if that continues to progress, we could even end up finishing unbelievably in a dry track. That would be quite something. But yeah, keeping a close eye on the forecast as we tick through. Obviously, is it still 4 times? Is it 3 times progression?
It's 3 times, yeah, the same as the last
3
race.
times progression, yeah.
We should finish about sort of 5 o'clock in the afternoon, I think.
Yeah, as far as braking for someone like Leslie Oliphant, when he's following that closely to Rousseau, I mean, you can't see brake lights. You're just concentrating on your own braking point, and you have full trust in the driver in front, not braking early, basically, and also taking the same line. I suppose once you've followed them for quite a few laps, you get into a bit of a rhythm. It can't be easy. True skill there to follow closely behind a track. On a circuit with this amount of rain on it, where you just basically can't see the car in front, especially down that first main straight.
Watching back from Governor's car, looking at David Lisher now. Just need to note the strengths and weaknesses of the two different cars. No, they're finding the grip in the wet. Lisher's outbraked himself. Oh, he just managed to save it as he goes past somebody else who's just gone off into the wall.
And I made a mental note, as we said, 6.5 seconds, Nick Hodgson. Before even the outbraking of Lisher, it got down to 4 seconds. So Hodgson is catching, and he's catching at least a second a lap. And Governor's slowing down Lisher, so if it carries on like this, Lisher's not been able to get past Governor for quite a few laps. You're going to have Nick Hodgson company soon. He's going to be a bit of a Bentley sandwich. That Porsche would feel very small in between 2 Bentleys. I feel like you're in a little Fiat Cinquecento in the middle of Rome.
Actually getting right under the rear wing of the big Bentley. The drive onto the main straight. I think it's going to be Lisher. Yo, Lisher's gone off. Oh, he gets it back on the black stuff. Yeah.
I would think that would be a little bit wet off circuit in the mud, but he kept it going.
Full marks for trying.
Yeah, I think you know how important that braking zone in turn 1 is, and that you're just desperate to get a good flying exit out of turn 15, the final corner on this circuit, just to make sure you're there or thereabouts. But yeah, not easy with the understeer in the wet. So Nick Hodgson, through the last time on the timing screen, is 2.5 seconds now from 6.5. One advantage is you look in your rearview mirror and you're not going to see anything anyway, are you? So you won't. Yeah. You're not going to see a Bentley badge coming up. You're just going to see your own spray. I dare to say that he's probably keeping a bit of an eye on his relative, though. Leslie Oliphant's had a bit of a break off the back of Gabriel Rousseau, and now he's going for a second push because he's right up behind again. I mean, we're talking a couple of tenths at most. It's almost like he just wanted a few laps just to relax and regain his composure before he had another push.
Let's see Hodgson then shot. Really closing up to Lisher now.
Yeah, that 6.5 seconds didn't last for long, did it? 1.3 now as we pass the last sector time. Devon Lish has just not been able to get past Govender. I think he probably has got a bit more pace in him, but passing's not been easy. We know it's not easy on this circuit, but even in these conditions, it seems even harder in a way. So we've seen close driving, but not really any clear-cut passing manoeuvres apart from full-on mistakes. So we'll see how Hodgson gets on as he closes up to the back of Devon Lisher, because we've seen that he's got a 1.5 seconds a lap on him at the moment. But I feel once he's behind the spray, obviously Hodgson's already fought his way through quite a few cars. He dropped down to around about 16th place and he's got up into 8th. So he has made passes. Just a quick mention on Jack. I mean, 16 seconds in the wet. I mean, he probably didn't want a wet race, but it doesn't really appear to have made much difference to him. Still showing his dominance. It's quite a substantial lead. So Hodgson's into 4/10 now. If we were F1, he would be in DRS range. Not that I think you'd have DRS in these sort of conditions, but he's very, very close. Another lap and he'll really be putting pressure on Lisher, who's just dropped off a bit from Govender, 1.3 seconds. Hodgson will be feeling confident knowing that that gap was there, and it's taking him only 6 or so laps to close it right down. At least 1 second a lap, I think. Yeah, looking at the forecast, look, lightning, then 3 minutes time, heavy rain, then 10 minutes time, light rain. So rain is due to slow up. Amazingly, we've still got 59 minutes left of this race. I'm pretty sure we're going to finish with a dry... Oh, someone was off there. Who was off there?
Lisher's trying to make a move now. Dummy's left goes right. Get the drive on Govender.
I think it was Henbury that we saw off on the wrong side of the circuit.
Comes Lisher side by side line with Govender. It's got the outside line now. Oh, contact. Lisher into Govender. Not too bad.
Hodgson's there though. He's lingering behind.
Yeah. On board now with Hodgson. There's the 2 cars in front, of course. Govender's gone a bit deep, but he saves it.
God, just gone into the cockpit view of Nick Hodgson. You just can't see anything, can you? Very faint outline of a Porsche in front, and that's about it.
These 3 coming into traffic, and as I say that, Kinney spun in front of them and has caught out Hodgson.
Oh, that's
big
a shame.
damage for Hodgson. And yeah, he's got going again, but that puts to an end that fantastic battle he was having with Devon Lisher.
Oh, such a shame. He literally couldn't do anything about that, could Nick Hodgson? I was riding on cockpit with him, and then it literally, car just come out of the spray, and it was right in front of him.
Big damage for the Bentley. He'll get that repaired now, though.
So that's twice Nick Hodgson's been found. He had a bit of a punt from Heineken at the start, and yeah, down the pit straight, just a random car in the middle of nowhere. And he's missed his pit box as well, just to put rapid salt to the wounds. He's reversing up the pit lane.
Stop. Kenny was sent to the pits, of course. That was the car that spun in front of Hodgson. Well, governed Lisher and Hodgson. 2 cars in front managed to get past the spinning McLaren. but not Hodgson.
Yeah, just he had no choice. He was looking at the spray. I was commenting that you could barely see Lisher in front of him. Then all of a sudden, you got a car sideways across the circuit. I mean, there was just nowhere for him to go whatsoever. But I think these guys will be looking forward to the 10 minutes by the looks of it, as we do have a forecast of the rain to stop in 10 minutes' time. We've just got cloud in 10 minutes, no rain. So that 30 minutes we've had in absolute monumental rain is probably felt like a 90-minute race for some of these guys. And I've got Bashir Jadwat, who I was commenting on a 16-second lead. Last time I went through the sectors, it just had Clarson's only 6 seconds back. Yeah, 6 seconds back, so he lost 10 seconds somewhere. Did he pit? No, he hasn't pitted. Yeah. Jadwat's last lap was 2 minutes 2. He had an off.
No damage to the Porsche from what I can see. So fucking error.
No, so he lost 12 seconds. Got a drive-through penalty for Nick Hodgson. It just gets worse for him, doesn't it?
No, when it rains, it pours.
Yeah, he's just had no luck whatsoever. He's had the pace, but it's just no luck. And a stop-go 30 for Mark Hembry. Well, that must be speeding in the pit lane for Nick Hodgson to get a drive-through. Or he reversed up the pit lane. I think he's had a bit of enough, unfortunately, as Nick Hodgson. Yes, we definitely missed a mistake from Jadwat that took 10 seconds of his lead, just slashed away in one lap.
Actually, interesting battle here. It's Krookamp in 21st, leading Geldernes and Dada. The cars very close together. Geldernes looking to go up the inside of Krookamp.
He's got damage on that McLaren, I see.
Dada in the big Bentley there as well, on his way through.
Peter Geldernes obviously is pitted already and repaired from damage when he went into the wall. Rain is definitely getting slightly lighter than we've seen. Peter Geldernes has managed to be the winner of that little battle of three. Dada's also got through. So it shows you the gaps that have formed throughout the field, that Nick Hodgson has only dropped back into 13th, but he's coming into the pit lane now to serve his drive-through penalty. So considering the massive shunt, repair, missing his pit box, there's some huge gaps on circuit. You've got Kieran Patterson now, he's up into 14th place, but is more than a lap down. So yeah, Nick Hodgson served his drive-through and didn't actually lose a place because the gap's that big back to Kieran Patterson. Will stay in 13th, but obviously lost so much time. I think Devon Lisher will be a little bit relieved though, because he would have been very, very well aware of Nick Hodgson closing him down, and these two are used to having a fight on the track. He's dropped back from Governor a little bit now. What's going to be interesting is if the rain stops in 10 minutes' time, we've still got 40 minutes left on that basis of the race to go. More than 40 minutes. Could very, very well be in a situation where the track actually starts to dry out. So, but we're going to be entering pit window. If people have gone 50-50, we're going to be entering pit window before that happens. So, tyre selection, what could happen? You want to try and hold on for as long as you can.
It may dry out and then start raining again towards sort of the end as well.
Yeah, you just don't know, do you? You'll be keeping an eye on the forecast. Obviously, the drivers get the forecast as well. But yeah, if you've got the fuel, you want to try and drive as long as you possibly can just to try and make that decision for you. So the front runners have really shown a bit of a masterclass in how to drive in the wet, because when you look at some of the gaps, it is quite substantial. We got 2 laps back to 18th place in Miller, but 1 lap back, all the way back to I think Jadwat's lapped all the way up to 13th position now, despite him having a bit of a mistake. Yeah, lap times are coming down. 1 minute 47 for Jadwat. That's the fastest lap of the race for him. Compared to what they have been driving in, this must feel like a pleasure. Suddenly starts to feel like you're driving a car again, rather than piloting a boat.
Lindsay Ray and Heineken to the pits now. I think Heineken is in fact not in this race any longer, I don't think. Unfortunately. Chris Langefeld, I beg your pardon, he quietly getting on with things in 3rd position.
Yeah, Kevin Rousseau is majorly stuck behind a back marker, and Dado is just refusing to move. He's getting blue flags now. He's pulled off the racing line. But yeah, the rain is definitely coming to a close here in Zandvoort, and we're not quite halfway through this race, so we're going to have a half wet race, half drying track, I think. That's going to make it very, very interesting as drivers start to change their driving style and possibly think about different strategies if the track does dry out. I mean, it looks like an awful amount of standing water on circuit. You can't believe a drying line would form that quick, but in 3 times progression it possibly can.
Now right with Govender once again. This time Nisha does not have a charging Hodgson behind him.
It's going to be a little bit easier to see as well, isn't it, for Devlin Lisher as he comes around the final corner. Is it 15? No. Well, I'm trying to work out where that is. Yeah, it comes around 15 onto the finishing straight.
Oh, it's spin in front of him again. What's that?
It's a crew camp. It's moved out the way, but he did it at the last possible moment. That would have certainly got Governor a little bit concerned. Lisher, I think, pulled off of that a little bit. Yeah, so just a very light shower, if anything now. Rain is almost stopped here. Just standing water on circuit, though. Lisher's definitely enjoying a slightly drier track, that's for sure. See what his lap time was last time out. And we've got him still only a 150, so he's 3 seconds slower than Jadwat. Oh, 4 seconds slow. Jadwat's last lap time was also his quickest again. Every lap being quicker than the one previous. 146.4 for Bashir Jadwat. He's the fastest man on circuit by a good 3 seconds. It's just a matter of time before Lisher gets this move past on Govender, I think.
The drive now.
Way more confident. Side by side.
Oh, contact!
Yeah, Govender closed the door a bit there. Not sure he thought he was there. Lisher's holding it though. Oh, another contact. Well, there's certainly a bit of pushing and shoving, but Lisha got the pass made before the pit straight, and now he's trying to defend. And he's not going to be able to. Oh, he's let him pass, did he? I think he let him pass because of the contact.
Yeah, Lisha wasn't happy with that.
Yeah, a bit of class there from Devon Lisha to allow the passes. It did look pretty 50-50 from where I was looking, to be fair. He'll regroup and have another go.
Yeah, good on Lisha there. Good stuff.
Yeah, I wouldn't have been able to apportion blame either which way there, to be quite frank. It did look a little bit touching from both sides. Oh, Govender's gone wide. He's let Lisha pass on his own because he completely missed his braking point and just went off the circuit.
We went on board with Lisha and suddenly there was no penalty in front of him. As he said, Daniel.
Dived off on the grass, did Govender. He didn't hit a wall, so there's no damage there. But Lisha gave the place back, and I think it was almost inevitable that he would get it. He was looking way more confident as the track starts to dry out and the rain stops.
The rain has stopped now, I would say.
Yeah, definitely. So it's just how quickly this circuit can dry out. There's a huge amount of water still on track. But 3 times progression, we're exactly at where we would usually expect a full pile up in the pits. So I'm thinking guys they're going to stretch it as long as possible. It's just how much fuel they've put in. That might make the decision for you, but if you can, you're going to hold fire as long as you possibly can in the potential to get off wet tyres.
The big question now is when will the track be ready for dry tyres?
I'm thinking quite a few more laps just based off the amount of rain that we've had and standing water.
The thing is that if the guys did prepare for a dry race, they might have only put fuel in to get halfway. And
exactly.
It might be too early to go into the dry tyre. So what do they do?
Dry tyre would be a bit of a gamble right as it stands now, I think. You're going to be tiptoeing for a little while. Still spray coming off the back of these cars. See Jason Isherwood gets a pass made on Jan Spammers and should move up into 10th place. Yeah, we have seen this in the past where we've had only basically light showers in season 1. The track dried out incredibly quickly under the progression. We did have slightly faster progression in season 1 though. So that could have been responsible for it. But certainly the spray already has subsided from these cars as you see them going down the pit straight. So I'm thinking 10 minutes time, you would be safe on a dry tyre. Just as a bit of a guess. Wouldn't be surprised in 10 minutes whether we start seeing people pitting. Can't quite see what tyre compounds people are on though, can we, unfortunately? That's a shame. They need to add that. I mean, there's not a dry line, but there is a racing line forming on track already, for sure. So, I'm thinking by another sort of 8, 10 minutes, it certainly will be, you wouldn't want to be putting wets back on again. I mean, the sun's out now.
Temperature's gone up 3 degrees as well. Ambient.
Yeah, huge change. We had absolutely monumental rain for the first 20 minutes of this race. And now it's looking quite pleasant. Guys have definitely fueled longer, or possibly with such slow lap times that we've seen. I mean, we're 153s, 154s. Fuel burn off would be a lot less than they would have expected. So even if you had thought you'd put enough fuel in for a half a race, you're probably going to get 5 or 10 minutes extra out of it.
It does look good out there. It looks like as if someone's just turned on the sprinklers.
Yeah, there's definitely a sort of a racing line forming on circuit. It's not a dry line by any means, but it is a racing line. You can see a difference in the track. Yeah, track temperature up to 28 degrees. We've got Jadwat who's going down the pit straight, coming off the racing line. Whether he's trying to cool his tyres, I don't know. He's also going along with his hazards on for some reason. I said thank you to someone and forgot to say thank you.
Kind of clearly just moving aside for Jadwat. Jadwat put a lap on it. Good stuff.
Yeah, Seda Corsa does look pretty epic when you've got a mixture of track conditions like we've seen, and now it's starting to dry out. Very nice. The track looks awesome with certainly a dry line just starting to form now. I've taken some different lines through these corners. I don't know whether the back marker's putting him off slightly, but he's certainly trying to stay on the wet sections of the track, is Bashir Jadwat. Definitely staying on the wet section of the track here. Yeah, checking lap times now. Jadwat's down. His last lap was again his fastest, 1:45.3. But
Big slide for Jadwat. He's turned it around.
Oh!
Into the wall he goes. Not too bad. Got damage in for Porsche.
He might come in now. Will he come in? No, he's gone on.
Where's Claessen's? Not close enough, I don't think. Is he?
What I was about to say is Claessen's is matching him on lap time. Also did a 1:45.5. So just when I switched to check the lap times, and 1:45.2 from Claessen's, that is the quickest lap of the race. So this could still be interesting. Yeah, Jadwat is he's trying to keep hold of these tyres as long as possible before he goes onto the dries. I'm pretty sure of it. But I don't think there's going to be too many laps left, because there's quite a substantial dry line forming on circuit now. I'm pretty sure you would be able to make the switch.
Carpenter's just left the pit lane. Position. Isherwood's also stopped in 10th.
Yeah, none of our top 8 have stopped there, though, have they? They're holding out for as long as they possibly can. But it's only going to be another lap or two. Jadwat is making a conscious effort to stay on the wet parts of the circuit. Yeah, he's changing his line, is Jadwat, and I think he's trying to condition his tyres. And potentially that line change is what called him out. I didn't take his spin. Was he good with a back marker, or was it just off on his own?
Just off on his own.
Yeah, I think maybe you take a different line and your tyres are overheating, and you're trying to push your lap times quicker than you've ever done before as well. I wouldn't be surprised to see Jadwat come into the pits and be first to change onto the dry tyres. He's gone on for another lap though.
Good fight here between Kieran Pedersen and Arnold Klue.
Brent Lindsay rays off in the background, and we've got Craig Carson on the same pit straight as Bashir Jadwat now. Jadwick coming to turn 1, you could just see Claessen's coming in the background.
In fact, that was Kieran Patterson unlapping himself against Clue.
Kieran Patterson hasn't been told that it's stopped raining or he's fighting with spray, because he's got his windscreen wipers on absolutely flat out.
Everyone in big traffic now.
So who's going to be the first to blink and pit for dry tyres?
Down the big Bentley, recovering from the sand trap. Very slow, in fact. He's just letting cars go by. Or he has a problem.
Lionel Clue, I see, is just taken to the pit lane, so he's the first of our top 8 to pit. And I'm pretty sure he's going to be going on to dry tyres here. There's no way you're going to put wets on. We've got full sun forecast for the next 10 minutes.
So running out of fuel.
Who's running out of fuel, sorry?
I sure as that in
Is
19th. Just nursing at home.
He's got a back bumper hanging off as well, hasn't he?
Yeah, it is.
But he's coming into the pits now. So certainly the dry line has taken a little bit longer to form, but I mean, it's not surprising with the amount of standing water we had on circuit. There is definitely a racing line though. And I think if you had to pit now, you would not be at all too concerned with going onto the dry tyres. If you've got the fuel in your tyres and not overheating though, Bashir Jabber's making a conscious decision to stay off the racing line wherever he can.
Hey, Claessen's has done his pit stop. He's just rejoined the circuit in 4th position.
Yes, so this could be really interesting if Quade Claesson can get a couple of real flyers, whether the undercut will work. I think he had about 7 seconds though, didn't he? So it's quite a substantial amount of time he'd have to gain. Bashir Jabber might come in to cover him. That'd be the safe option. I have to just keep an eye on Quade Claeston's lap times. His previous best lap was a 1:45.2, which was a couple of laps ago. He's pushing hard now. He's dipped a couple of tyres onto the grass. Will feel different for sure.
He's battling.
He is. He's a lot of corrections in those front wheels, isn't there?
Trying to get some heat into those tyres as well. It's not quite happening at the moment.
No, definitely does not look as planted as we've come to see him. He's struggling to stay on that racing line, and that's exactly what you've got to be on it. You can't go off it at all.
We've got Hannes van Beek just behind him in the purple Aston Martin.
He might have jumped a bit early, Claessen's, eh? But if you needed fuel, then there was nothing you could do. Wait for his first flying lap. We're looking for a 1:45.2 and any improvement on it. Sometimes you just look at, sometimes it can look a bit untidy, but then you suddenly cross the line and you just blisteringly quick. So it will be interesting to see on his first lap. Obviously, this is only on his out lap right now. So next lap round for Craig Claesson, whether you can beat a 1:45.2. See, already Jadwat on his wet tyres is a 1:43.5, so the track is substantially improving now.
Track temps up to 30 degrees. Well,
So if Clarkson's is going to make progress, he needs to be like 141s. Yeah, he wants to be 141 to 140s even. When you look at him, it doesn't look like he's enjoying it too much here quite yet. Might have just jumped a little bit early. He's just coming into turn 11, is Quade Clarson's.
Good fight developing in between Isherwood and Clue over 9th position. Oh, I say that Isherwood's got to run up the inside of Clue. Good Governor as well in the mix. It's a good three-way battle now. Isherwood's run up the past Governor on their outside.
Yeah, Governor got a bit sideways there, didn't he? And had to stop to correct.
Moves through as well. Oh, Hannes van Beek's got a drive-through penalty. It could be for track limits. Oh, Judd's struggling through the chicane. It's off, but he recovers well.
Quade Clarson's first flying lap, 148.
Oi.
He's 5 seconds down of Bashir Jadrat. So no, it wasn't correct to go this early on the dry tyres. That's a shame. It did look like he was struggling, didn't it? He was struggling to keep that Porsche pointing in the right direction and micromanaging his steering. I was thinking possibly it might be because he was going quick, but that's not the case. He was just genuinely struggling. Yeah, Bashir Jadwat is gone round again in another 143. So he's in a bit of a class of his own now, Bashir Jadwat, and now that the track's starting to come to him as well. He built himself a big gap in the rain and then lost it with a few mistakes. But I mean, let's be honest, you're not gonna drive through all those conditions without making some sort of error somewhere. And now the track's coming to him. He's really putting the hammer down, even on the wet tyre still. So we can tell from the outside of the tyre what tyre they're on, because the wet weather tyre of Bashir Jadwat is yellow. And Quade Clarson's got a red rim on.
Angelfart down to the pits from second. Was he's challenging Clarson's for a net second. Oh, so that should be interesting.
Yeah. I don't think Clarson's done it though, because although, Langevelt's last pit time would have been counted for his pit entry as well, I think, instead of 153. But I think that'll be...
Clarson's easy through it.
I just had Neil Berger just randomly in the middle of the circuit and he's going slow. Has he run out of fuel? Or he's waiting for someone, or I think he's run out of fuel, or something's going wrong with Neil Berger's car.
He's waiting for somebody. Other damage to the front of that Porsche.
Yeah, he was parked waiting for someone, I think, maybe.
Comes Jadwat into the pits now, our race leader.
I think he's timed that perfectly, hasn't he, Jadwat? I think he really has. I see in the forecast, it's bright sunshine for the end of this race. We will be finishing with a completely dry track, I think. Which is amazing that all of that, all of that rain that we had. Rousseau is staying out for another lap. He went to have a look at the pit lane entry, almost as if he's just checking to see who's in there, and then stayed out. I think possibly he was coming off the racing line to get the last bit of wet track to cool his tyres. So what happened to Leslie Oliphant then? Because he's 16 seconds behind Gabriel Rousseau now. And Jadrat's come out of the pits and he's about to put a lap on Oliphant, which is pretty remarkable, considering Oliphant hasn't pitted yet. No, sorry, I've got that completely wrong. Jadrat's come out behind Oliphant, of course. He was blue flags were for Neil Berger, who they were lapping, but Oliphant was also lapping him. Yeah, there's no way that Jadrat was that quick. So he's got an entire pit stop, though, hasn't he? An entire pit stop window, basically. So looking at lap times, we've got Claessen's is still only in the 146s on his tyres, so he's not even got close to beating his previous best lap on his wet tyres. So we're certainly in a bit of a transitional period where dry tyres is not quicker. It will be in a lap or two, but I think Klaassen just came in a couple of laps too early. Obviously, we might not have had a choice. And simply had to pit. But took a bit of a gamble in changing onto the dry tyres early if he did have a choice, and it hasn't really worked out for him, unfortunately. Gabriel Rousseau is still lapping well. 144.1 was his last lap, and that's also his best lap of the race. So his tyres are certainly not finished, and that's quicker than Claessen's managing on the dry tyres. So as long as they're working, you might as well stay out on them, I guess. Yeah, Christopher Langeveld, who changed onto the dries as well, has also only gone round in a 146, which is 2 seconds slower than his previous best. Obviously, they filled with fuel as well, though. But, yeah, the dry tyre is not beating the wet tyre quite yet. And I think that's why Gabriel Rousseau is just happy to stay out on them. And Leslie Oliphant. Interesting one I'm waiting for is Jadrat to cross the finish line.
Very telling.
Yeah, he's just coming through turn 15 now. So we'll get his first flying lap across the timing sheets. Yeah, 144.8. So it is a quick lap, the quickest we've seen on the dry tyre, but it's still a second, 1.3 seconds slower than his wet tyre time, but he is obviously more fueled. Can't be too much fuel left though, with only 23 minutes left to go in this race. So it's taking a while for these dry tyres to get into a window, certainly. And I think I'm completely wrong with the colour of the rubber on the side, because Jadrat's come out and it's still yellow, so I think it's just part of the skin, isn't it?
Could be, yeah.
Yeah, maybe there's someone from chat, if you know any different, let us know, but possibly you end up painting your tyres, it doesn't matter what tyre you've got, it stays the same. It's the sort of detail that ATK would be doing, I think.
Yeah.
Because Gabriel Rousseau's got no colour on his whatsoever.
Good. It was Judd Watt putting a move on Oliphant. Good stuff around the outside.
Yeah, which he didn't need to do because Oliphant hasn't pitted yet. It was obviously holding him up. So we might just be getting into a crossover period now where suddenly the dry tyre switches on. In which case we'll see Rousseau and Oliphant diving into the pit lane. Just consciously looking at the gap to Jadrat from Rousseau, because Rousseau's going to have quite a quick pit stop. 20 seconds, 20.3 seconds from Gabriel Rousseau to Bashir Jadrat. Rousseau's just been a little bit under the radar here, and he's just got his head down with some clean laps. And they've been good laps as well. Let's see what his last lap, 143.8. It's a flyer. So over a second quicker than Jadwat in that last lap. So he's going to be close. I don't know what a pit window is here.
Good question. I think it's quite enough, but it's going to be pretty close when he comes out, I think.
Yeah, it's not going to be enough, I don't think. It's definitely longer than 20 seconds to change tyres, but he's gained a lot of time, Gabriel Rousseau. I mean, he started the race, in 7th position? We said look out for him. He's in 7th, but he will go forward. And no matter what the conditions, he's certainly gone forward. 21 minutes left of this race. We've got, 10 more laps, more than 10 more laps, sort of 13 more laps to go. Finally, Craig Clarson's has got his lap times down, and he's just set a personal best as well, 1:44.5. But yeah, I think he's going to lose out to Gabriel Rousseau for pitting too early before the track fully dried, because he was losing sort of 6-7 seconds a lap in those first 2 or 3 laps that he had those dry tyres on and struggling.
It took a second and Rousseau that last lap.
Yeah, I think Gabriel Rousseau's just got to the point where he's going to have to really think about coming in and changing. Yeah, Bashir Jadwat, quickest lap of the race, 1:42.6. It's taken him it has taken him 3 or 4 laps just to get those into the window. But the track's fully dry now, basically, on my screen. Tiny bit of spray coming off the back of Jadwat's car still. Surely Gabriel Rousseau is going to pit this lap. What I want to know is what the gap is to Quay Carson's, because I mean, on that calculation, Gabriel Rousseau could jump quite a few places here from doing the overcut. Yeah, Jadwat's taking chunks out of him now, isn't it? 18.7 seconds it's dropped down to. Yeah, and here's Rousseau, he's coming in. I think maybe he came in 1 lap too late, but that's certainly better than 5 or 6 laps too early, as we've seen from some of the other drivers. So he waited until he really saw a drop-off, and then he's pitted, with only 18 minutes left. Nick Hodson's back in the pits as well. Maybe he pitted early with damage, didn't he? Probably didn't go onto the dry tyres and has had to have forced himself for a second pit stop. Hopefully he doesn't get a drive-through again. So Bashir Jadwat is long gone, as Gabriel Rousseau is still in the pits. Craig Clarson's has also gone past as well. It's coming through turn 1. Christopher Langenfeld is just coming out the final exit now. And Rousseau's leaving. So he's jumped Christopher Langenfeld, it's Gabriel Rousseau, and it's putting him into a podium position. So it's going long has certainly gained in places. I think a couple of spots quite comfortably in the podium positions now. Gap back from Jadwat to Lang about 69 seconds. Substantial gap. Just shows you the amount of rain we had. It caused havoc at the start of this race. And it spread the field substantially through, more than what we'd usually see in a GT3 race. And it's probably how someone like Nick Hodson, who's had one of the most up and down races we've seen for a long time, is still in 11th place. If you said you'd get a drive-through penalty, 2 smashes, back, repair damage, you would never think a top 10 was even remotely possible. But yeah, the wet weather has changed things quite a lot for the back end of this field. So just to remind ourselves, this is round 4. Next round is Spa, and then we finish at Suzuka. We had an awesome race at Suzuka last season, so I look forward to that one. That was the best one from the season for sure.
So, yeah.
Had just a little shower in it, didn't it? And it was a night race. It had everything in it. It was a superb race. So it's a good one to finish on. But Spa will be interesting as well, because I don't think we're going to have the Porsche fest that we've seen in the last few rounds. So yeah, we've got 5 Porsches in the top 6 here, but Spa is its weakest track for competitiveness. So we would expect a few other brands to be near the top in round 5. And then looking forward to the next events coming up in Sim Race South Africa. We've got next week, is it back to GP? It's always back to GP. Pretty sure. Let's have a quick look. Yeah, we've got the Dubai.
It's, Dubai, yeah.
Yeah, Dubai race next week. And then we're back to TCR Championship, which is been a bit of a hit this season, has to be said. TCR, very, very frantic racing. And we go to Nürburgring. The little short sprint circuit.
There's still plenty of racing happening this season, and sign-ups are still more than welcome. I think we sure what the sign-up count is now. I think we well over 150 people at the moment sign up for the season.
Yeah, superb. And money race for Warm Angel project. Is there? Have you checked the new total?
Not quite, but I think we're just shy of 30,000 rand raised.
Yeah, that's insane. Those guys must be chuffed, eh?
Yeah,
I'm sure they're pretty happy.
Yeah, it's been a huge help for them. Yeah, it's been I think a record season for Sim Race South Africa time round. Yeah, it keeps on growing. It's fantastic to see.
Yeah, obviously sim racing in general this year has had a bit of a boom everywhere.
Yes, yeah.
Player count's gone through the roof, as has sim racing equipment prices, which anyone trying to get into sim racing would have certainly noticed, I'm sure.
And availability's gone down, of course, because it's all sold out.
Yeah, slowly
yeah,
getting back to where it was, and I think that's a welcome break for anyone that wants to get involved. That it's not actually a silly time to get involved here, because I see prices are pretty much back where they were before, but it did get super silly a few months ago for sure. Because everyone was desperately trying to find a new hobby and following their heroes that are also doing sim racing when they couldn't do real life racing.
Yes.
Yeah, it's been a good thing in general for sim racing for sure. See, now we have a substantial dry line on circuit, don't we? We have a slightly damp off line and then a full dry line. And Bashir Jadwat is just on the he's just pipped through now the 140s, 139.4 from Bashir Jadwat. So we've had 13 seconds of track progression from Thunder and Lightning to this point, and I think we'll get a little bit quicker. So we're probably going to end up with 15 seconds change in lap times, which is pretty insane. And it has to be said, I'm sure the drivers are going to be absolutely cursing and swearing at me on Discord the moment that this race finishes, because I'm such an advocate for the wet weather. But it has to be said, it does make it interesting, and it is very impressive to witness people driving through those conditions and still managing to keep the car on circuit. And then when the track comes to them, the times come tumbling down.
We got the official track status as being greasy. totally dry just yet, as you mentioned, Daniel.
Yeah, but I think compared to what they were driving on, they would think it was basically super glue on their tyres. Because after driving in the first 30 minutes of this race, this must be a pure pleasure. If they've not got damage they're nursing, which I think quite a few of the midfield to rear end drivers have when you start going backwards. There's some very tatty looking cars going around at the moment. Bits and pieces hanging off all over the place. I'm pretty sure we have missed a lot of incidents middle to rear end of the field. Probably self-inflicted for a lot of them. But we'll be hearing about it after the race, I'm sure. So Kieran Patterson, who started from the pit lane, has done incredibly well because he's got himself up into the top 10. So he qualified in second and he's now in 10th place. I mean, he is a couple, is it 2 laps down? Yeah, Jason Isherwood is, or a lap and a half down at least. But still a solid drive to recover from pit lane and fight his way through an immense amount of traffic to get back into the top 10. Whatever his issue was, I can only think he didn't hit the drive button in time. That can the only way you can go to pits in a Assetto Corsa first or second version.
Interesting to see Langerfeld back into the pits. Position.
Yeah, he must have not had enough fuel, eh?
I'm not.
Be quite a miscalculation to underfuel by 9 minutes. Again, I'm not sure if you're using something like Crew Chief to calculate your fuel. I've been caught off so many times where Crew Chief works out your average lap time, and obviously now lap times are 5-6 seconds quicker than they were. So you don't want to be pushing. You don't put anything like what Crew Chief tells you to put in. You put in quite a bit more to make sure you cover it to the end. And Langerfeld might have shortchanged himself by a few laps, although he's still sat on the pit, so might be something a bit more than that, I'm afraid. Yeah, Bashir Jabrat's got his lap time down to 1:39 deads now. It's just constantly getting better.
Board of Lano Kluno chasing down Hannes van Beek. This is over 6th position.
Yeah, Christopher Langfeld is back out on circuit in showing 8th, but it must be further back because Antonucci is ahead of him, so he must be down in 14th when he goes across the timing line. So not 100% sure what happened there, but he was a long time in the pit lane. Yeah, Lionel Clue's been a little bit up and down this race. He had such an epic start in that AMG. He was fighting his way through the field. Looked like he had different tyres from everyone else, until all of a sudden he had a bit of a tank slapper. Managed to hold it, but I think it scared him a little bit, because then he started going backwards more than he went forwards, or just the track just got so unbelievably wet. Oh, Hannes van Wijk just span round in front of him. And,
there was contact there between Claessens and Van Beek. Not sure what happened there, but I think Van Beek was trying to lap himself, and Claessens wasn't ready for it.
Wow, he ended up losing out to Clue. So we've got the top 5, all Porsche 911s. I think we might have to put a little bit of a 911 tax on season 3. Because it is getting a little bit of a Porsche Cup race. It seems like split categories here, LMP1 class.
Claessen's really battling for pace. Clue really zooming up to him pretty easily. I wonder if Claessen's has run a wet tyre. On the wet tyre still. Did he not change the tyres?
He did really early, didn't he?
Yeah.
But his lap times are 140, so I think he's just made mistakes. 140.2 is actually a quick lap time, but the Clue was a 139.6. So it's just pure pace from Lionel Clue, to be fair. 139.6 is not far off our leader, who has just done a 138.3 as I say that. So that's super, super quick.
He'll come through to unlap himself now. Gonna put a move on Clausen's too. Look at this.
Yeah, well done to him. I suppose Clarkson doesn't need to fight it, does he? You can just let him unlap himself. No worries. Doesn't look like Clarkson's going to be under pressure for. He's not going to risk his second place. That's for sure. So 5 minutes left of this race, probably 3 or 4 more laps to go, depending on where Bashir Jadwat crosses the finish line. So at the moment, it does look like we're going to have 5 Porsches in the top 5. So I know we've had a mixture of conditions here, but I was told that the Porsche was not great in the wet, and I think I'd be lied to. I will not believe anything anyone tells me now.
Proved wrong.
Yeah, I think that's enough to put that to bed, that the Porsche is pretty good everywhere. It doesn't matter what circuit, what conditions. I think we're going to have to put a ban on the Porsche for Season 3. For certain drivers, I think we must select them. We want to see some BMWs up there. The most hated car in ACC for some reason. And yet in real life, they've been doing pretty good, haven't they, BMW? So
Yeah, I think so.
they'll be pushing Kunos for a BOP change, I think.
Yeah, great drive by Jadwat so far. Just 1 or 2 errors, I think. But I think that can be forgiven.
Oh, 100%, yeah. For certain, he went off the circuit at some point and lost 10 seconds that we missed. But, I mean, that's so easy to do. You've got back markers you've got to pass. You've got spray to deal with. Oversteer, different tyre conditions. There's just no way that you can do a race without a mistake. And I think he's just had the least amount of mistakes of all the drivers, isn't it? It's quite simple as that. But Craig Clarson's been pretty epic as well, I have to say. Yeah. And Gabriel Rousseau, I mean, we said he was a man to watch right at the start, but yeah, might be a little bit rusty coming back to sim racing, but in every race that he's done, he's gone forward in the race.
Yeah, he's pulled out a podium from nowhere.
Yeah.
Fantastic! Wow.
He didn't really put anything. I didn't see any major mistakes from him at all, and he had to fight his way through a bit more traffic than everybody else. So good to have him back. I'm sure if he dusts himself off, he'll be fighting for wins in no time. Still got Leslie Oliphant just in the shadows behind him. Managed to close the gap down, and they're sort of back to the fight they had at the start, but no ways he's going to close it down quick enough with only 2 minutes left.
Kieran Patterson's just put a move on Jason Isherwood for 9th position now.
Yeah, it's going to be the race that could have been for Kieran Patterson, isn't it? I mean, he pressed drive in time. He's going to be livid with himself. Because I can feel his pain, because you can imagine how much time and practice people put in for these Division 1 races. It's a lot. I know it's a lot. I used to do it. You need to dedicate a lot of time to be a top 10 finisher in Division 1 in this league. I promise you that. And then if you make a mistake like that, it's just gutting. to go from second to the back of the field, and it's a long field now. We're not talking ACC, Assetto Corsa fields of the old days. Yeah, back of the field here is really punishing. Yeah, I don't think anyone can just arrive and drive and win a Division 1 race in Sim Race South Africa. That's for sure.
No.
Even I can guarantee you, Bashir Jadwat does not arrive and drive. There's a lot of preparation goes into these races and into these wins. It is impressive. There's a lot of time goes into it as well. Just because we witnessed 90 minutes of it, there's a lot more time in the week or two before that leads up to this race.
Jadwat's still pushing very hard off the track for a second there.
Yeah, the last lap was his fastest of the race though, 1:38.2. He's got a massive lead, but I think he's just enjoying himself, isn't he? 1:38.277. See what this one comes in. If he's made a bit of a mistake, it should be a little bit less.
Leaders on final lap now.
This is the final lap of the race. We just got a track condition of green. You'd never have known, would you? We've had monumental floods.
Oh, it's been continued to be Govender and who's that? Keep it pointing in the right direction somehow, but Govender did go into the wall. And the Roo, perhaps. Yes, it was. Comes Bashir Jadwat, final lap of the race, forward to bring it home for yet another victory in 2022 simGT.
I bet that felt a bit longer than 90 minutes to Bashir Jadwat, that's for sure. This one wasn't easy. I mean, he led it, let's be honest. He got pole and he's led it start to finish from the front, but if you just read those sub-notes, you wouldn't believe what he's had to go through. It's been a well-fought race for the win. Very, very well deserved. He's proven he's the quickest driver in basically all conditions, because apart from snow, we've had everything this evening.
I think if he does win the Drivers' Championship, you'll look back on this race and go, I think this might have been the race that sealed it.
Yeah, 100%. Very, very well done as he crossed the finish line for a very well-deserved race from Bashir Jadwat. We can only afford.
Him and ATK, great race. And speaking of ATK, Quay Claessen's coming through a little bit further back.
Yeah, quite a bit further back, really, isn't it?
He's coming through to make it an ATK 1-2. First time it's happened this season, certainly.
Yeah, he's still coming up to turn 12, 13, got 14 and 15 to go, so Jadwat managed to stretch a very big lead in this dry track section. I think if he had a dry race the entire time, it would have been a long, long lead. As Claessen's comes to the final two corners, got Jan Spammers in front of him. He doesn't need to pass him, but can't stop some of these drivers, can you? They want to race just constantly when it's completely unnecessary. As he sees a checkers flag for a good second place.
It's Rousseau, he's got Oliphant. It's a race to the line.
You had that. It was Gabriel Rousseau, just got it, I think. Just but my word, was that close.
I didn't realise there was on.
I didn't think he would close that much. Last time we looked, there was a good 2.5 seconds, only 2 minutes to go. I think Gabriel Rousseau was just coasting at the end. 0.034. 3/100ths of a second between Oliphant and Rousseau as they crossed the line. And we missed Devon Lisher and Hannes van Reyck in 6th place. Well done to him, and I'm not sure what happened to Langeveld.
That's it. It's Jadwat, Claessen's, Rousseau, Oliphant, Lisher, Van Reyck, Klue, Langeveld. Kieran Pedersen, great recovery to 8th position. Issue at 9th. You got top 10.
Green light, show them what you got.
Missed that now, unfortunately, before the tower changed.
I think it was Isherwood in 10th and Patterson was 9th. I think someone pulled out earlier, yeah, but very well done to everyone.
Yeah.
I mean, if you finished that race in those conditions, I think you deserve a round of applause and a scotch at the end of that. So very well done to everyone that took part this evening.
I was very impressed with how the start went, because that was going to turn one. We just had a dry qualifying session and to sort of going to turn one wet. That was very impressive how everybody got through there. Yeah, well done to everybody. And I think, yeah, that concludes round 4 of the Division 1 race anyway. This week we got Division 2 and 3, of course, coming up on Wednesday evening. And of course, if you're new and you're wanting to race in that race, you're welcome to sign up on the website, simracesa.co.za. On the 2020.2 sign up form. Yeah, fill that out. That'll come through to me via email. I'll respond to you as soon as possible, and then we'll get you signed up for the championships that you choose to take part in. Very welcome to join us. Not a problem at all. A big thank you to Daniel. Thanks, Daniel, for this evening. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me. I look forward to the next one. It's good to be back. And yeah, very well done, guys. I was very impressed.
Yeah, from me, Jason Holden-Jones, thank you very much. And next stream will be on Wednesday evening. I think Alan Patterson will be streaming the Division 2 race. So all the best until then. Goodbye for now.